Two, one.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second press briefing of the day ahead of the expected impact of a tropical storm Bret. We have with us Mr. Itoma James, the acting senior Met officer, who will provide us with the latest update on the storm's progress, as well as the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, Public Utilities, and the Digital Economy, Mr. Emil Lancelot. Mr. Bernard Etenoff, the General Manager of DOASCO, Mr. Dave Stamp, Chief Operations Officer, Dominica Electricity Services Company, DOMLEC, and Mr. Benoit Badwell, the CEO of the Dominica Air and Seaports Authority, DASPA. At this point, we welcome Mr. Itoma James with his latest update.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say welcome to our esteemed presenters from the different industries. So let us just start. To note that Dominica will continue to remain under a tropical storm warning, and that will stay in effect until the passage of the storm. At 11 a.m., the center of Tropical Storm Bret was at 13.8 degrees north, 57.7 degrees west. That places it about 265 miles southeast of Dominica. The extent of the tropical storm force winds, which are currently at 70 miles per hour, is at 115 kilometers outwards, and the system is expected to pass about 90 miles to the south of Dominica. The earliest possible arrival of tropical storm force winds have changed because we have a slowing in the forward projection of the storm. It is now moving at 14 miles per hour, and that would mean that we can expect tropical storm force winds in Dominica at about 4 p.m. thereabouts. So it's no longer 2, but later in the afternoon. Additionally, we have a slight decrease in the expected rainfall totals. A slight, like I said earlier, we were at 4 to 8 inches, and now we can say we are at about 4 to 6. We also have to take into consideration that these projections don't necessarily work well when we speak about the topography of Dominica and the heights. So in higher elevations, we can expect higher rainfall totals. So we do expect people to still be cautious and understand that there is a natural threat of rainfall that can affect Dominica. And the sea deteriorations is expected to stay the same. On the east coast, we expect seas to deteriorate to about 4 meters, that is about 12 feet. And we just expect everybody to stay safe, make sure that all of your preparations are done. I don't think anybody should be clearing drains now. All of those should have already been done. All the overhanging trees, all of the necessary precautions should have already been taken. So just try to dampen your anxieties and be prepared. Thank you.
Thanks to Mr. James for that update, and we move right along to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, Public Utilities, and Digital Economy, Mr. Emil Lancelot.
Good afternoon, colleagues, and good afternoon to the listening and viewing public. I will report to you on the preparations of the Ministry of Public Works. The Ministry of Public Works has done preparation with regard to, first of all, identifying the staff that will be responsible for responding in the various areas of Dominica. So we have organized our staff, and we have had them basically briefed on what their roles will be in the event that we have to respond to any situations that may occur, and that we pray that will not occur, but the likelihood that with increased rainfall, the possibility of landslides, flooding, and so on may take place, and we'll have to respond to those. Additionally, we have done an inventory of all of the heavy equipment that are available island-wide, and not only the numbers, but also looking at the various locations. And based on our knowledge, or historical knowledge of the areas that we consider to be hotspots, in some cases we have had to reposition equipment in critical areas so as to ensure that we can respond in quick time to any incidents. Our aim is really to restore, if necessary, if the need arises, to restore access in as quick a time as possible. So obviously, in the heat of the storm, we will not be able to go out, but as soon as it is safe to go out, we will be going out to do our reconnaissance. And we also ask that the public makes us aware of anything that they know. And so we have established a hotline that they can call or WhatsApp information to the Ministry of Public Works so that we can respond as soon as it is possible. That number you can reach us at is 618-3129. So that is a cell phone number that we can reach that via, we can use WhatsApp, SMS messaging, or call directly to that number, and somebody should answer. So we've done that preparation. We've put preposition equipment. We know where everything is. We have the contact information for our heavy equipment owners and operators, and so we're ready. We stand ready to respond if the need arises. The Ministry of Public Works is also the ministry responsible for the public utilities, and we have two of them represented here who will make presentations, but we have been speaking to with the public utility companies to ensure that they themselves are ready, and they have assured us that they have put in place all their actions, plans to respond to ensure that services are kept as long as possible and restored as quickly as possible if the need arises for them to respond. So that being said, I ask everybody to remain safe, stay out of harm's way, and we pray to God that we are spared the brunt of this storm. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Lancelot. For this afternoon's press briefing, we've invited the representatives of two of our main utility companies to share with us, to provide us with updates, and we would like to invite Mr. Bernard Etenoff. He's the General Manager of DOASCO.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, general public. I would like to say at this point that the WASCO has been heeding the warnings issued, and so we have activated as of this morning our continuity of operations plan, which calls for a number of things. There are some water systems that are very, very vulnerable and in precarious areas, such as Coolibistry and Girodel. And I will say at this point that we have already shut those systems down because we have to be concerned about the safety of our staff, and we could not allow them to be out there in those rivers too late into the day. So those two systems have been shut down, which means in the case of Coolibistry, areas of Grand Savan, of Monrachet, and Coolibistry itself will be affected. In the case of Girodel, we have the Girodel area, Beaubois, Egliston, and Upper Reigate will also be affected. All other areas are expected to be shut down by 2 this afternoon, and so we have staff on standby to activate those systems. Prior to shutting down, try to ensure that there is adequate water in storage so that in the event that something occurs, once an all clear is given, we could restore water in the quickest possible time. We are encouraging persons at this point that they should have some water in storage, and for the areas that are not yet shut down, every effort should be made to ensure that they store some water to take care of the needs in the event that something occurs and there is no water for an extended period. We are in contact with all water trucks on island, or most of them I will say, and we have already identified areas where we will locate those trucks should something occur so that we could supply water to the communities. The WASCO itself operates 3 of those. Well, we operate 4, one which is owned by the ODM, 3 owned by the WASCO, and those are being located in strategic locations. Pickup trucks are assigned to various locations, manned by staff with cell phones and other means of communication, and those are equipped with chainsaws and other equipment that would be necessary to clear access and to restore water as quickly as possible in the event that something occurs. So we encourage everyone to remain safe, to pay heed to the calls coming out from the ODM, from Net Services, from the government of Dominica, and we at the WASCO will continue to do the best we can to ensure that what is restored in the quickest possible time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Etanoff. We also have with us Mr. Dave Stamp. He's the Chief Operations Officer at DOMLEC, and he will now address us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to the viewing and listening public. DOMLEC's preparation is in very high gear for the upcoming weather system. Prior to the activation of the various warning and watch protocols, we prior to that have already activated our emergency response plans. And as a matter of fact, we have our incident commander in place and our emergency operations center is already in place. Now, from a generation point of view, we have adequate staffing in place at the various power stations and locations. We have the requisite security systems in place with a combination of private security and collaboration with the Dominica Police Force, who will be housed at our facilities to assist security in the event that we have a bad system and there's public unrest. From a generation capacity point of view, we have adequate capacity at all our power station locations to deal with any demand in electricity. And our hydro systems, we have special protocols in place to deal with our hydro systems if we need to shut down in the event that there is water and flooding. From our T&D point of view, we also have staffing in place, and staffing have already been sent home so that they can be easily deployed in the event that they need to respond to a system. As a matter of fact, we have deployed staffing in various locations throughout the island so that they can respond in remote locations. We also have deployed resources in terms of parts, poles, transformers, etc. at the various locations, especially in the north, in the event that there is transportation issues, road issues, bridges, etc. And all our staffing from a commercial point of view have been briefed and deployed. So from that point of view, from our generation, T&E, and customer service, we are in ready and high mode. And it is always DOMLEC's policy to ensure that for as long as we can, we will hold the system together and try to ensure a continuation of service. The only time you may see disruption of service is if the situation gets too bad and there are sections of the system protects itself in order to protect the equipment and the public. But it is our intention to try and hold the system as long as possible so that we can continue our customer service. Thank you.
On a positive note to end here from DOMLEC. Thank you, Mr. Stamp and Mr. Etanoff before him. Our final presenter this afternoon is Mr. Benoit Badwell. He's the CEO of the Dominica Air and Seaports Authority, Daspa.
We say good afternoon again to my colleagues and to the viewing and listening public. Let me say the management of Daspa, in keeping with the information provided by the Government of Dominica and the Meteorological Office, they will be closing the ports of entry from 12 noon today, Thursday, as a result of Tropical Storm Bret, which is expected to affect the island later today. All the necessary preparations at the Douglas Charles and Canefield airports and seaports of Roseau and Portsmouth have been undertaken, and the public is hereby informed that all ferry operations are cancelled until an all clear is given with respect to Tropical Storm Bret. All flights for today out of Douglas Charles have also been cancelled, with the exception of Caribbean Airlines that came in earlier today from Trinidad. So there will be no more flights at Douglas Charles for the rest of the day. And we're saying that the Woodbridge Airport, Ferry Terminal, Douglas Charles Airport, Longhouse Port will also be closed and will open when official clearance is provided. Daspa is also getting assistance from the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force to ensure that there is proper security at all our ports of entry, and we're working very closely with the police on that. So the management of Daspa will inform the traveling public for air travel and ferry operations based on information provided by the airlines and the shipping agent with respect to time of arrival and departure of the various flights and ferries. We want to inform the public that persons should await official information. People should not just come down to the port after the event. They should await official information before proceeding to the airport in particular, or the ferry terminal after the passage of the storm. The issue here is that we want to make sure that everything is coordinated properly and that persons get information through the official media sources so that they don't just come to the port and create undue difficulties for themselves and their families. We urge all to take the necessary preventive action to safeguard themselves and their families, and we look forward to an early restart to serve you at the various ports of entry. So we wish all to be safe, and that we want to ensure that we can continue our operations immediately thereafter. Thank you.
All right, we thank all various presenters for your updates and for your very concise reporting. As usual, we urge you, the public, to stay informed by tuning to the various radio stations and the official sources, media sources of information. On behalf of the Government of Dominica, the Cabinet Secretary, and others, we urge you to remain vigilant and adhere to all public advisories as together we ride out the storm. Thank you and good afternoon.